What's up everyone, Justin with GTech Apple here, and today I've got the full comparison for you of the iPad 2 versus the iPad mini. So here you can see they're side by side here. Let's go ahead and get started. The iPad mini features a display of 7.9 inches while the iPad 2 features a display of 9.7 inches. Both devices have a 1024 by 768 resolution, which is not Retina quality. The iPad mini features the new redesigned Lightning dock connector, which is 80% smaller than the 30-pin dock connector seen on the iPad 2. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the thickness. The iPad 2 comes in at 8.8mm, while the iPad mini comes in at just 7.2mm. Taking a look at the front-facing cameras, the iPad mini has a 720p HD front-facing camera, while the iPad 2 records in VGA quality. Taking a look at the rear-facing cameras, the iPad mini can take 5MP stills and 1080p full HD video, while the iPad 2 can only take 720p HD video and 0.7MP stills. Taking a look at the specs, the iPad mini and the iPad 2 have very similar specs, both with an A5 processor clocked at about 1GHz and 503MB of RAM. These are both also running iOS 6.0.1. So now let's go ahead and run the benchmark between the iPad mini and the iPad 2. Like I said, the specs are almost identical on these devices, so the benchmark score should come out pretty close as well. So I sped it up a bit. Now we've got the benchmark scores in front of us. So the final score on the iPad mini was 752, while the iPad 2 got 758. So a 6-point difference is pretty much nothing. You will not notice any difference in terms of the performance here. Maybe the 0.1 gigahertz, the iPad 2 was clocked a little bit higher, may have had that difference. But other than that, this is pretty much identical, and the performance on these devices should also be pretty much identical as well. So now it's time to test the Wi-Fi speeds on both the devices. They are connected to the same network, testing off the same server, and Apple did say that the Wi-Fi is improved on the iPad mini, so you should expect some difference there. So right off the bat, both devices got a 20 millisecond ping. The Wi-Fi download speed on the iPad mini is about 5 megabits faster than the iPad 2. So there is a little bit of a noticeable difference, but in terms of just regular everyday web browsing, you shouldn't see too much of a change. So now it's time to test the web browsing in real life here. I loaded up the Apple's website, and the iPad mini is just a split second faster, almost unnoticeable, so you shouldn't really see any difference in that. In terms of the second site we loaded, the iPad 2 was a little bit faster. Let's just keep loading more stuff up here. And the overall speed is pretty much identical, each device going kind of back and forth. I think the iPad 2 is just a split second faster, maybe thanks to the processor being clocked just very minimally faster. So now let's just load up YouTube here and see how that performs. That's the last site I'm going to test out right now. Just hit go on both the devices. And the iPad mini came up a little bit faster than the iPad 2. So you do see a little bit of a difference, but it's really going back and forth. Both devices are both very, very fast. Next up, we're going to test how fast the applications load on each device. So let's go ahead and open up the App Store here and see how long it takes to open up the featured page. And it looks like the iPad mini beat it out by a little bit. Going back to the home menu. And now we're going to open up Imovie. And once again, the iPad mini is just a tad faster than the iPad 2, but really, on everyday use, you won't notice any difference. And let's just open up the camera here. The iPad 2 was just a little bit faster, but I guess the quality difference is pretty worth it. And now we're going to go ahead and do a boot up test, see which one can turn on faster. And it looks like the iPad 2 beat the iPad mini. Let's just see how long it takes for the iPad mini, and there we go. So somewhere about a 5-second difference, maybe somewhere around there. So that's about it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. This is just a comparison between the iPad mini and iPad 2. Be sure to hit the like button below. I'll see you in my next video.